Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered today to talk about something that transcends the realm of simple relationships, something that speaks to the heart of our personal power, autonomy, and respect for ourselves. Respectful boundaries are not just guidelines for how others should treat us. They are the personal lines we draw to protect our well-being, our emotional safety, and our sense of identity. In any relationship, but especially in relationships with men, it's crucial to define what is acceptable and what is not. These boundaries ensure that we maintain control over our own lives and decisions, allowing us to honor our own needs, feelings, and desires. Setting boundaries doesn't mean being harsh or closed off. It means asserting your right to be treated with dignity and respect. It's about knowing that your voice matters and your comfort, happiness, and safety are just as important as anyone else's. Too often, we may feel pressure to compromise our boundaries, to avoid conflict, or to please someone else. But compromising on these lines can lead to a slow erosion of your sense of self and ultimately a relationship that drains you rather than nurtures you. Having clear boundaries means communicating openly about what is acceptable to you in the relationship and what isn't. It's about knowing when to say no and understanding that doing so doesn't make you selfish, it makes you strong. It's a powerful reminder that you are worthy of having your personal space, your emotions, and your time respected. Boundaries allow you to grow and thrive in the relationship without feeling like you're losing yourself. Moreover, respectful boundaries set the tone for how others will treat you. When you consistently uphold them, you teach others to do the same. If a man truly cares for you, he will honor those boundaries because he respects you as an individual. If he pushes or disregards your boundaries, it's not a sign of love or affection. It's a red flag that should not be ignored. Remember, boundaries are not walls. They are the guidelines that create trust, mutual respect, and a healthy foundation for any relationship. Self-worth and independence are the pillars that support a woman's emotional and mental well-being. These are not traits that can be given or taken away by anyone. They must come from within. To truly know your worth is to recognize that you are valuable, powerful, and deserving of respect, love, and opportunity. Not because of what you do for others, but simply because of who you are. In any relationship, it's essential to maintain your independence, not just in terms of your finances or responsibilities, but in how you think, how you feel, and how you make decisions. Independence allows you to retain your individuality, to think critically, and to pursue your goals without relying on anyone else's approval or validation. It enables you to grow as a person, independent of anyone else's influence, while still being capable of nurturing a healthy partnership. When you are independent, you don't look to anyone to define your value. Self-worth, on the other hand, is the internal recognition of your own value. It is the understanding that you are enough just as you are. Too often, women can fall into the trap of tying their sense of worth to external factors, such as the approval of a man, the success of a relationship, or the validation of others. This external dependence can create a fragile foundation, as it means that your happiness or sense of fulfillment is at the mercy of someone or something outside of you. When your self-worth is dependent on anyone else's actions or opinions, you are essentially handing over your power. True self-worth comes from within and is tied to your core values, your talents, your accomplishments, and your capacity to love and respect yourself. It is not conditional, it is not earned, it is inherent. When you possess strong self-worth, you understand that you don't need to settle for anything less than what you deserve, whether it's in a relationship, a career, or personal growth. Dependence complements self-worth by giving you the strength to stand alone when necessary, to pursue your dreams and passions without fear of judgment, and to take responsibility for your life. Independence doesn't mean doing everything on your own. It means having the freedom to make your own choices and to live life on your terms without feeling obligated to conform to someone else's expectations. Together, self-worth and independence build the foundation for a balanced, healthy relationship where both individuals can stand strong as equals. They enable you to enter relationships from a place of strength, not dependency. You are not seeking someone to complete you, but to complement you. You are already whole. Emotional manipulation is one of the most toxic and damaging behaviors in any relationship. It is when someone intentionally uses your emotions against you to gain control, influence your decisions, or undermine your sense of self-worth. It is subtle, often disguised as care or concern, but in reality, it is an attempt to twist your feelings and perceptions to serve someone else's interests. One of the most dangerous aspects of emotional manipulation is that it can be hard to recognize, especially in the early stages of a relationship. A manipulative person might use guilt, fear, or shame as tools to get you to do what they want. For instance, they may guilt trip you into staying in a relationship, suggesting that you don't care enough or that you're the one who's at fault for any issue. They might make you feel responsible for their happiness, implying that if you don't comply with their demands, you're being selfish or unloving. Over time, emotional manipulation can slowly erode your confidence, cloud your judgment, and make you question your own reality. You might start second-guessing your decisions, questioning your boundaries, and even doubting your worth. Manipulative individuals thrive on this kind of power. When you become unsure of yourself, it makes it easier for them to control and dominate the relationship. They may even gaslight you, a form of manipulation where they make you doubt your own perceptions, memories, and understanding of situations. They twist reality, telling you things never happened the way you remember, or dismissing your feelings as irrational, ultimately making you feel like you're the problem. This is so prevalent out there. It's crazy. And I want you to understand that if you allow this to happen to you, unfortunately, making you feel like you're the problem. Another common form of emotional manipulation is playing the victim. Manipulators might frequently put themselves in a position of being wronged or misunderstood, using their victimhood to justify bad behavior and gain sympathy. By doing this, they shift the focus away from their harmful actions and place the blame squarely on you. The result is that you end up feeling responsible for their pain or emotional distress, even though it was their actions that created the situation. Emotional manipulation can also be linked to controlling behavior, where a manipulative person uses emotional tactics to dictate what you do, how you feel, and who you interact with. They may create scenarios where you feel as though you owe them your time, energy, or affection, and might even use love or affection as a weapon, offering it when you comply with their wishes and withdrawing it when you don't. And they will. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where you start to make decisions based on seeking their approval or trying to avoid their disapproval, rather than what feels right for you. Let go of what other people think. Let go of the expectation of perfection. At its core, emotional manipulation is a power play. It's about control. Manipulative individuals seek to make you feel small, insecure, or unsure of yourself so they can maintain the upper hand. They may use your vulnerabilities, insecurities, or past trauma to exploit you emotionally, convincing you that you can't trust yourself or that you need them to validate your feelings. Being manipulated emotionally is a violation of your personal autonomy. It is not love. It's control masked as care, kindness, or affection. It can leave you feeling exhausted, depleted, and powerless. Recognizing emotional manipulation is the first step toward freeing yourself from its grip. The key to fighting back is not to engage in the manipulation itself, but to trust your instincts, assert your boundaries, and never allow someone to twist your emotions for their benefit. Loss of identity is one of the most profound and damaging consequences that can occur in any relationship, particularly when a woman compromises who she is to conform to someone else's expectations or desires. Identity is the foundation of who we are, our values, beliefs, dreams, passions, and the essence of our individuality. When we allow someone else to define us, we lose not only our sense of self, but also our ability to make choices based on our own desires, needs, and truths. In relationships, it can often seem like an act of love to put someone else's needs and desires ahead of our own. But when this becomes a pattern, it begins to diminish our own voice. The more you suppress your true self to fit someone else's idea of what you should be or what they need, the more you begin to feel disconnected from who you really are. Over time, this suppression can make you feel like you are living a life that belongs to someone else rather than the one that reflects your true self. When a woman loses her identity in a relationship, she starts to make decisions not based on what feels right for her, but on what she believes will make her partner happy or keep the relationship intact. She may give up her hobbies, interests, or even her career aspirations to fit into a mold that was never truly hers to begin with. She may stop spending time with friends or family, withdraw from activities that once brought her joy, or diminish her own needs and desires, all in an effort to prioritize the relationship. This type of loss of identity often happens gradually and subtly. It might begin with small compromises, such as choosing a movie or restaurant that the other person prefers. But over time, these small acts of self-sacrifice can build up and create a larger sense of confusion and self-doubt. Before long, you might realize that you no longer recognize the person staring back at you in the mirror. Their choices, actions, and thoughts no longer feel aligned with who you truly are, and the person you used to be seems like a distant memory. My friends, all of you are willing and able to rise, but you have to decide. Do you want to believe the truth? Furthermore, the loss of identity can lead to a feeling of being trapped in a role that isn't yours, in a relationship that requires you to constantly shape-shift to meet someone else's needs. The more you lose touch with your true self, the more you begin to depend on external validation from your partner, looking for confirmation that you are lovable, worthy, or worthy of attention. This dynamic creates a toxic cycle where your sense of self-worth is tied to someone else's approval rather than your own inner understanding of your value. The danger of losing your identity in a relationship is that it leads to a profound sense of disconnection, not only from your own self, but from the world around you. Your passions, your ambitions, and your dreams are all part of what makes you uniquely you. When they are neglected or buried, it can leave you feeling empty and unfulfilled, constantly searching for meaning in someone else's life or expectations. When you lose your identity, you risk becoming a mere reflection of someone else's reality rather than living your own. You lose the ability to shape your own future, and you end up feeling like an outsider in your own life. The more you suppress your individuality, the more you may start to feel a sense of resentment, frustration, and even anger, both at yourself and at the person you feel has contributed to your loss of self. It's essential to recognize the signs of losing your identity and take steps to reclaim it. This means reconnecting with the parts of yourself that make you feel whole, your passions, your ambitions, your voice. It's about remembering who you are outside of the relationship and taking the time to nurture that person, even if it means making difficult decisions or confronting uncomfortable truths. True fulfillment in any relationship comes not from losing yourself, but from growing together as two strong, independent individuals who support and uplift each other without compromising their personal identities. Compromising core values is one of the most dangerous things a person can do in a relationship. Your core values are the foundation of who you are, your beliefs, ethics, and principles that guide your decisions, actions, and interactions with others. These values are not easily shaped or changed, nor should they be. They define your integrity, your purpose, and your sense of self-worth. When you compromise them for the sake of another person, especially in a relationship, you risk losing not only your sense of identity, but also your personal power and direction in life. The temptation to compromise one's core values often arises in the face of conflict or pressure within a relationship. It may start with small things, letting go of a personal belief to avoid disagreement, tolerating behavior that goes against your ethics to keep the peace, or putting aside your own desires to accommodate someone else's needs. But these small compromises, when repeated over time, create a pattern that can chip away at your authenticity, leaving you disconnected from the person you truly are. When you make decisions based on someone else's desires or expectations rather than on your own beliefs, you're sacrificing your integrity. This often happens when there is a fear of rejection, a desire to please, or a need for approval. You may feel that conforming to someone else's worldview will lead to a better, happier relationship. But what you are really doing is ignoring your inner compass. By compromising your values, you create an imbalance in the relationship where one person's needs and beliefs overshadow your own, leading to a lack of mutual respect and understanding. Moreover, compromising core values can lead to inner conflict. You may begin to feel disconnected from your true self, torn between what you believe is right and what you feel pressured to accept. Over time, this inner discord can lead to resentment, frustration, and confusion. It can cause you to feel lost, unsure of who you are and what you stand for. It can also lead to feelings of betrayal, both towards yourself and towards others, especially if the compromises you've made were not aligned with your original values, but were instead made out of fear or insecurity. When you give up your core values to make someone else happy, you are not nurturing the kind of healthy, balanced relationship that fosters mutual respect and personal growth. Instead, you're creating a dynamic where one person's needs dominate, often at the expense of your own emotional, mental, or spiritual health. A relationship based on compromise at the expense of your values is built on an unstable foundation. It's not sustainable in the long run, and it can lead to a pattern of self-sacrifice that erodes your sense of self-worth and your ability to trust your own judgment. Staying true to your core values, even in difficult situations, strengthens your ability to make choices that reflect your true self. It allows you to enter relationships as your authentic self and to demand respect and consideration for what you believe in. You will never have to sacrifice your integrity to be loved or accepted. True love, genuine partnerships, and healthy relationships are built on the foundation of shared values and mutual respect, not on compromising your beliefs or changing who you are to meet someone else's expectations. Settling for less than you deserve is one of the most disempowering choices a woman can make in any relationship. It stems from a mindset that either doesn't fully recognize your value or fears that you won't find something better. It's the belief that love, companionship, or even affection must come at the cost of your self-respect, happiness, and personal standards. The last few things brought this up for me is this when you settle you are essentially telling yourself that you are not worthy of the love, respect, or treatment you desire and deserve, and this compromises your sense of self-worth. It often begins with small justifications, excusing behaviors that don't align with your standards, accepting less than you need because you're afraid of being alone, or convincing yourself that things will improve over time. But these compromises don't just vanish, they accumulate, creating a situation where you're constantly giving more than you're receiving, sacrificing your own needs and desires for the sake of keeping the relationship alive, even when it's not fulfilling or healthy. When you settle for less than you deserve, you stop advocating for yourself, you stop raising your standards, and you start to accept behaviors that you would have once considered unacceptable. It might look like tolerating dishonesty, disrespect, emotional neglect, or even manipulation. It could mean staying in a relationship where your needs are consistently ignored or devalued simply because you fear that you won't find someone else, or that you're too damaged or imperfect to deserve more. This mindset of settling doesn't just diminish your happiness in the present, it shapes the future. When you settle for less, you teach yourself that your happiness is conditional, that love and fulfillment must come at a price, or that being in a relationship is more important than being in a healthy one. You become accustomed to being treated poorly, and as a result, your expectations for love and respect shrink, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Another stance. This leads to emotional exhaustion, frustration, and ultimately resentment. The more you compromise your worth, the more you lose sight of what truly matters to you, and you become increasingly disconnected from your true desires. It's also important to recognize that settling is not just about accepting poor behavior from a partner. It can also be about settling for relationships that don't challenge you, don't allow you to grow, or don't align with your values. Settling can manifest in being in a relationship that doesn't support your personal goals or aspirations, one where you feel like you're simply existing rather than thriving. Relationships should help you become the best version of yourself, not diminish who you are. When you accept anything less than that, you're telling yourself that you're not worth the investment of someone who will meet you on that level. The fear of being alone can often make settling feel like the only option. But it's crucial to remember that solitude is far healthier than being in a relationship that stifles your growth, diminishes your spirit, or forces you to compromise your core values. Being alone means you have the freedom to discover who you truly are, what you want in life, and what you deserve in a partner. Settling is the belief that you cannot have a healthy, fulfilling, and respectful relationship, but that belief is rooted in fear and insecurity, not in reality. When you recognize your worth, you no longer feel the need to settle. You understand that you deserve to be in a relationship where both partners contribute equally, where mutual respect, support, and growth are the foundations. You know that your happiness, your peace of mind, and your emotional health are too valuable to be sacrificed for something that falls short. You stop seeking validation from others and start finding it within yourself, knowing that you don't need to settle for less when you can have what you truly deserve.